Match the following: Govinda Dikshidhar, Venkadamaki, Gujarati merchants, Persian Gulf, Manipgramam, Guild, Masulipatinam, Major port, Indian cloth, Muslim. Answer the following briefly. When was the Mughal rule consolidated in India? The consolidation of Muslim rule under the Mughals in the north, beginning in 1526 AD CE with the defeat of the Ibrahim Lodi by Babur. At its height, the Mughal Empire stretched from Kabul to Gujarat to Bengal, from Kashmir to South India. Write a note on Alauddin Khalji. The impact of Muslim rule was felt during the reign of Alauddin Khalji. He sent military campaigns to south under his commander Malik Kafur. The primary objective was to plunder the wealth rather than to expand his territory. Devagiri, near Aurangabad, was captured by Alauddin Khalji. He renamed it as Daulatabad. It was the second stronghold of his growing kingdom. Gangayum Kadarum Konda Cholan, who was the Rajendra I, earned the title the Chola who had conquered the Ganga and Kadaram. He sent naval expeditions against the Sailendra kingdom of Sri Vijaya in Indonesia, Kadaram, Kedah, and Ceylon. So he was given the title Gangayum Kadaramum Konda Cholan. Mentioned the several power centers which came up after the fall of the Chola Empire. Further to the south, the Pandya kings again sought to regain the glory they had lost under the Cholas. Many brilliant Pandya kings like Jatavarman Sudara Pandyan ruled at the end of the 13th century. Further to the north was the Hoysala kingdom with its capital at Belur. The Kakatiyas ruled from Warangal, Telangana, while the Yadavas ruled in Devagiri. These states do not exist in peaceful cooperation, and the region was beset by many internal wars and conflicts. Explain the Battle of Talikota. The rulers of Vijayanagar were almost continuously at war with the Brahmani Sultanate as well as with the religious based kingdoms of Kondavidu and Orissa. Finally, the combined force of the five Deccani Sultanates defeated Vijayanagar in 1565 AD at the Battle of Talikota. The empire finally withered away in the middle of the 17th century. Write about the Muslim historians. A notable development was the profusion of temporary historical accounts of the Muslim sultanates by Arab and Persian historians. Al-Biruni, Ibn Battuta, and Firuz are among the best known of the Muslim historians. These historians provide valuable information about the rulers and events of the medieval period. They also provide an alternative historical point of view of Islamic rule in India as seen through the eyes of Muslim writers. How did Vijayanagar manage to get resources for its militaristic state? This empire needed two kinds of resources to feed its military establishment: revenue and men. This was achieved through reorganizing the administration of the conquered territories, especially in the Tamil region. Military officers known as Nayakas were appointed as chiefs of various localities in Tamil Nadu. It received land grants from the emperor. There were also lesser military leaders known as Palayakar who essentially supplied the manpower for the army. Explain the art and architecture of the Mughal period. The Mughals were well known of their artistic values and were great patrons of the arts. They left behind numerous monuments in addition to constructing entire cities like Shahjahanabad, Delhi, and Fatehpur Sikri, gardens, mosques, and forts. Decorative arts, especially jewelry set with precious and semi precious gems for items of personal use, flourished under the patronage of the royal household and urban elites. The art of painting also flourished in the Mughal period. Primarily known as Mughal miniature, they were generally intended as book illustrations or well single works to be kept in albums. Write a short note on the literary works of the Chola period. The Chola period was an era of remarkable cultural activity. These were the centuries where major literary works were written. The best known classical poet Kamban wrote Ramayana in Tamil, which was formerly presented Arenstram in the temple at Sri Rangam. Secular's Periyapuram similarly was presented at the temple in Chidambaram. Among the great works of the period in Kalinga Putparani and Muvarula. What led to a significant expansion of textile production in India? The Europeans came to India primarily in search of spices, but soon there was an explosion in the demand for Indian textiles in the European markets, often referred to as the Indian craze. This led to a significant expansion of textile production in India. Write about the special of features of Vijayanagar architecture. Many new temples were built by them. Besides this, new structures like pavilions and halls with many pillars were added extensively to existing temples, which elaborately carved pillars. Art historians point to the distinctive style of the temple sculptures of the Vijayanagar period. The intricately carved lofty towers of gopurams at the entrance to temples were all added during the Vijayanagar period. The walls of the temples were embellished with paintings. What was the impact of Islamic rule on the Indian society? The establishment of Islamic rule in Delhi made a big impact on Indian society. Initially, Islam did not cause any social tension. Arab merchants, for instance, where they come and settle on Kerala coast, married local women and led a peaceful life. The situation changed when Islam became a state power for a medieval ruler. One day of way of asserting imperial authority was to demolish the place of worship of the enemies. Otherwise, Islam as a monastic religion has its positive impact in Indian society. It played a decisive role in the evolution of a composite nature. Who were Jesuit missionaries? Jesuit missionaries were active especially among the fishing communities on the Pandian coast. The best known among the Jesuit missionaries were S.D. Francis Xavier, who was instrumental in making the fishing community to take to Christianity in the Tuticorin region. Another notable Jesuit was Roberto de Nobili, a scholar who was based in Madurai. In South India, especially the Tamil regions, urbanization went hand in hand with temples. How temples were large economic enterprises requiring a variety of goods and services to function. They needed and employed a large number of people to man the religious services, the kitchens, and for other work. As a result, temple towns became marketing centers. The pace of urbanization increased during the Vijayanagar period when there was a great increase in the construction of temples across Tamil Nadu. What were Karnakaras? Larger manufacturing units employing many craftsmen are called Karnakaras. Karnakaras were up under Mughal state. Mention about the Holy Roman Empire. The newly established Holy Roman Empire represented Christianity and Christendom, and hence it was designated holy. The emperor was supposed to be a representative of God on earth like the Pope. The emperor dealt with political matters while the Pope dealt with the spiritual. Charles Mang, the king of France, was the first Holy Roman emperor. He was a contemporary of Pallava king Nandivarman II and Pratihara under Nagabhatta I. Why was the great Magna Carta signed by King John? The nobles in England forced King John II to sign a Charter of Liberty in 1215 AD. It is Magna Carta or the Great Charter. This charter contained a promise that the king would respect certain liberties of the nobles and the people of England. Choose the correct answer. Vasco da Gama reached the west coast of India in option C 1498. Arab Muslim merchants have been trading in the ports of the west coast, especially Kerala. In the south, a sultanate was established in Madurai. Sailendra kingdom existed in Indonesia. The Kakatiyas ruled from Varnangal. Vijayanagara was founded on the banks of the river Tungabhadra. The Battle of Talikota was fought in the year 1565. The Mughal Empire, option C, was founded by option C, Babur. Nayakas were military officers, option C. When the Portuguese arrived in Kerala, C. Christianity took roots. Find out the correct statement. Dharasuram temple was built by the Pandya rulers. Under the Mughals, a large volume of literature was produced, especially in Persian and Urdu. Tanzil lived in the court of Krishnadeva Raya. Telugu literature flourished under royal support. Second and fourth are correct. The state was indifferent to water resource. Lift irrigation was unknown to Indians. Cholas built a network of canals. Muhammad bin Tughlaq built the biggest network of canals in the Delhi area. Third is correct. Sugarcane was an important food crop. The two new crops introduced by the Europeans in India were wheat and rice. Rural population were known to abandon a settlement and move to a new location. The peasants live only at a very basic level of subsistence. 3 and 4 are correct. Assertion A. Specialized production by skilled craftsmen were required for an external market. Reason R. Craftsmen worked its larger manufacturing in units called karnakanas. A is correct. R explains about A option. Statement 1. Non-agricultural production refers to both processed agricultural products and craft production. Statement 2. Processed agricultural products are maize, tobacco, papaya, pineapple. Answer A option. 1 is correct. Second is wrong. Fill in the blanks. Military campaigns to the south were undertaken. Alauddin Khalji. The great statesman and loyal minister under the Brahmani kingdom was Mahmud Gawan. Rajendra's grandson was Kulotunga I. Magnificent Hindu temples are found at Angkor Wat in Colombia. The Hoysala kingdom shifted its capital to Hailbidu. The dynasty Sangama ruled Vijayanagar for nearly 1.5 centuries. The Mughal Empire started to disintegrate after Aurangzeb. The space from India was controlled by Muslims up to Alexandria. The Portuguese were able to conquer many ports from East India up to Malacca. The Cholas introduced innovations in revenue administration. Al-Biruni, Ibn Battuta, and Firoz Shah are among the best known of the Muslim historians. Under Vijayanagar Empire, Palayankar supplied the manpower for the army. The appointment of Telugu Nayakas resulted in the migration of Telugu speaking people from the north. The Portuguese built their first fort at Cochin in 1503 AD. Sikhism grew in strength in spite of severe repression by Aurangzeb. Roberto de Nobili was a Jesuit scholar. The Mughal miniatures were single works to be kept in albums. The intricately carved lofty towers or gopurams at the entrance to temples were contributed by the Vijayanagar rulers. Venkadamaki codified the ragas of Carnatic music. The most important dye crop that was grown in India. Answer indigo. The theory of the supremacy of the ruler which prevailed in the Holy Roman Empire was not accepted in England. King John of England was a contemporary of Sultan Iltutmish in India. Answer the following detail. Explain the important features of Indian agriculture. An important feature of Indian agriculture was the large number of crops that were cultivated. The peasant in India was more knowledgeable about many crops as compared to peasants in most of the world at the time. A variety of food grains like wheat, rice, and millets were grown apart from lentils and oilseeds. Many other commercial crops were also grown, such as sugarcane, cotton, and indigo. Other than the general food crops, South India had a regional specialization in pepper, cinnamon, spices, and coconut. In general, two different crops were grown in the different seasons, which protected the productivity of the soil. Maize and tobacco were two new crops which are introduced after the arrival of the Europeans. Many new varieties of fruits or horticultural crops like papaya, pineapple, guava, and cashew nut were also introduced, which came from the West, especially America. Potatoes, chilies, and tomatoes also became an integral part of Indian food.